It was Valentine's Day, 2011, and I remember I was talking to one of my quorum colleagues on the phone when the call came in on my personal cell. And I put her on hold and I took the call, and I remember after I hung up, I had to think of a way to get off the call. So I let her know what had just happened. I said, I'm sorry, I've got to end this call, but I was just diagnosed with cancer. And I'll never forget, she was very quiet, and she responded with almost this steel in her voice and said, "You're going to survive, you're going to get through this." I received the same news 16 years ago, different diagnosis, but I survived cancer and you can too. And I've always thought of all the people to have been talking to that day, at that moment. I was so blessed that it was her. How could I not keep working? Because I received so much support from my quorum family. I think about Marcia, who every week sent me a funny greeting card. I think she had stock in comedy cards. Or Christine, who every Friday tracked me down. She knew every phone number that I had and was always checking in on me to make sure things were okay. Or Karen, who actually helped me clinically. She became my personal dietitian when I lost so much weight to help me kind of get back to where I was, to help me get better. I had just people like Jim, who's experienced cancer in his own family, whose family went together and they had a shawl made for me and they sent it to me, and I wrapped myself in that when I was so cold and during some of the times I felt the most down, and I felt like I had a quorum hug every time I did that. And then I'll probably never forget an email I received less than 24 hours after I was diagnosed. The title just said "I heard," and it was from Jackie. And Jackie was just finishing up her own experience with cancer. And I just remember it was so sweet and on target. And she talked about how she always, sometimes you always wonder, what would you do if you had cancer, or how would you look bald? And I remember her words were, well, that's 2 things off the bucket list. And I just laughed, and it was probably the first time I laughed since I got my diagnosis, and I still carry that letter with me. So I often get asked if there was any one moment or any one time that stands out during my cancer diagnosis or treatment. And my family and I joke that there's the day, and we all joke about the day, and that was the day I chopped my hair off. That was the day I ended up in the hospital. It was the day I was probably the sickest of any of the times in my cancer treatment. So you would have thought that was the worst day of my life. But it turns out, I reflect back on the day, there's 3 things I remember. First was my hairdresser opening her salon before anyone else was there, and just privately cutting my hair into this super short pixie cut and refusing to take payment, just wanted a hug. And then going home so down and feeling lousy that my daughter climbed into bed with me, and she's 14. Trust me, on a Saturday, a 14-year-old doesn't want to be in bed with their mom. And we watched a silly Disney movie. And as the day progressed, I ended up in the hospital. And once I was finally settled in the hospital bed, my husband and daughters came in, and my oldest daughter had her laptop open. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, she's bringing her homework here. And here she put her laptop on my lap, and on the screen was her acceptance letter from college. And it was her dream college. She not only got accepted, but she had won an academic scholarship. And it was such a happy moment. So I learned that day that there are really no bad days. My name is Susan, and I'm a breast cancer survivor.